The story begins in a quiet roadside diner, a place that many truckers and bikers consider a safe stop for a late-night meal and some peace after long rides. The lights hum softly above, the smell of fresh coffee fills the air, and a young waitress named Emily moves from table to table with a warm smile that could ease the roughest soul. It's the kind of small-town spot where regulars know your name, and newcomers are treated with simple courtesy. But that night, peace didn't last long. A man stumbled in through the glass door, clearly intoxicated. His clothes were wrinkled, his voice loud, and his steps uneven. The few people inside turned their heads, watching as he clumsily made his way to the counter. Emily, ever patient, greeted him with her usual politeness, not realizing the trouble brewing in his mind. The man's speech slurred as he ordered a drink that wasn't on the menu, demanding alcohol, though the diner didn't serve any. When Emily calmly explained the policy, his frustration turned to anger. His voice grew louder, drawing attention, but Emily still kept her tone soft, trying to de-escalate. What the drunk stranger didn't know was that 5 Hells Angels bikers were sitting in the corner booth, quietly finishing their meal. They weren't loud or aggressive. Their leather vests, marked with their signature patches, told stories of long roads and loyalty stronger than blood. These men had seen everything, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. But one thing they never tolerated was disrespect, especially toward women or workers just trying to do their jobs. The man's voice cut through the diner, echoing off the walls. Emily tried to back away as he leaned in closer, his breath thick with alcohol, his words turning vulgar. Then, without warning, he reached out and grabbed her arm. The sound of her small gasp filled the air and the diner fell silent. Forks froze mid-air, conversations died instantly, and in that tense quiet, a chair scraped back from the corner booth. The leader of the group, a broad-shouldered man with a gray beard and calm eyes, stood up slowly. He didn't need to say a word. His brothers followed suit, moving with the kind of controlled purpose that only comes from years of unity and code. The sound of their boots on the floor echoed like thunder as they approached the counter. The drunk stranger, too lost in his own anger, didn't notice them until their shadows fell over him. Emily tried to pull her arm free, her voice shaking as she told him to let go. The drunk man laughed, still gripping her, but then he felt it, the heavy hand of the biker leader resting firmly on his shoulder. When he turned around, the color drained from his face. 5 pairs of eyes stared back at him, each one colder than steel, yet calm, deliberate. The leader spoke in a low, controlled voice, asking the man to let go. It wasn't a request. It was a command wrapped in composure. The drunk tried to protest, muttering something about minding their business, but before he could finish, one of the other bikers stepped closer, his stance firm but not violent. He didn't have to raise his voice. His presence alone was enough. The leader leaned in slightly, reminding the man that the waitress was someone's sister, daughter, and friend, and that respect was a non-negotiable rule here. The words hit harder than any punch could. Slowly, the man released Emily's arm, his expression shifting from arrogance to shame. The leader nodded to Emily, checking if she was all right. She nodded nervously, tears brimming in her eyes, but grateful for the silent protection surrounding her. The bikers didn't scold or make a scene. They simply escorted the man outside, guiding him toward his car, ensuring he wouldn't cause any more trouble. Outside, the cool night air cut through the tension. The leader told him to get home safely, to think twice before ever raising his hand or voice toward another person in service again. There was no need for threats. Their presence spoke volumes. When they walked back in, the diner broke into quiet whispers. Emily thanked them, her voice trembling with relief. One of the bikers smiled softly, saying it was nothing, just doing what any decent man should do. They paid their bill, left a generous tip, far more than the meal cost, and before leaving, the leader turned back to Emily and said, "Keep your head high. Don't let one bad person make you forget there are still good ones." The moment didn't just end there. It became a story that spread across town, whispered through the local community. People talked not about the Hells Angels' reputation, but about their quiet heroism that night. For many who only knew them by stereotypes or rumors, this moment changed perspectives. Beneath the leather and roaring engines were men who lived by a strict moral code, a code of respect, loyalty, and protection for those who couldn't protect themselves. From a broader view, what made this incident stand out wasn't just the confrontation itself, but the message behind it. It showed that courage doesn't always have to come with violence. It can come from presence, from standing up silently yet powerfully for what's right. The Hells Angels didn't act out of ego or the need for attention. They acted out of instinct and principle. It's what they've built their brotherhood on for decades, protecting their own, standing by what's fair, and refusing to look away when someone's in trouble. The Waitress's story traveled far, inspiring discussions about empathy, self-control, and the importance of intervention. Many online called it a reminder that strength isn't defined by physical power alone, but by how one chooses to use it. In a time when people often record instead of help, these bikers showed that action speaks louder than cameras. Even Emily's boss later thanked the group publicly, posting online about how they prevented what could have turned into something worse. The post went viral, sparking thousands of comments from people sharing their own stories of unexpected kindness from bikers and strangers alike. It reminded everyone that appearances can deceive. Those who look rough on the outside often carry the kindest hearts. From a symbolic perspective, the Hells Angels that night represented balance, fierce power tempered by compassion. Their simple act of standing up for someone wasn't about heroism, it was about humanity. It's easy to underestimate people by their looks, but that diner became a stage for one of life's timeless lessons. Character is revealed not by words, but by choices made in crucial moments. Later that week, Emily reportedly saw the same group of bikers pass through town again. They didn't stop or expect recognition. They just waved as they rode by, engines humming like a promise that somewhere, out on the open road, there are still those who live by honor. Their story mirrors something much larger about society. The constant need for people who step up quietly, who protect others without demanding praise. Whether it's a biker gang, a friend, or even a stranger at a cafe, these moments restore faith in decency. It's about restoring the belief that there's still good hidden beneath rough exteriors, and still justice that doesn't need a courtroom to be served. That night at the diner didn't just change how people viewed the Hells Angels, it changed how Emily viewed herself. She realized that sometimes, even when you feel powerless, there are unseen guardians around you. And maybe that's the most powerful part of the story. Not just the rescue, but the ripple effect of courage, kindness, and respect that continues long after engines fade into the night. Every detail of that evening, the clinking of plates, the flicker of fluorescent lights, the hush that fell when the bikers stood up, became a symbol of quiet justice. The world often celebrates loud heroes, but it's the silent ones, the ones who act without asking for credit, who leave the most lasting impression. It's not just about one drunk man learning a lesson. It's about a community reminded that respect isn't negotiable, that boundaries matter, and that courage can look like 5 leather-clad riders rising from a corner booth in defense of a waitress doing her job. That diner, tucked away on an ordinary highway, became a landmark of humanity that night. It reminded everyone watching, inside and later online, that you never truly know who's watching, who's listening, or who's ready to stand up when it counts the most.